What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another video here on the Fortitude Investing channel. As of today, November 20th, 2025, Bitwise will be launching its newest XRP spot ETF. This is extremely exciting for any XRP holder, considering that Bitwise is a big asset manager who is extremely excited about the XRP ETFs. Um, Here's what they had to say. It's one of the longest running blockchains with a 13-year track record, a super vibrant community of supporters. It's the third largest digital asset with 125 billion market cap. It's going after a massive $250 trillion cross-border payment opportunity. It can settle payments between 3 to 5 seconds for fractional of a cent. A growing list of assets are being tokenized on the XRP ledger, including US Treasuries, digital commercial paper, private credit, and money market funds. Our mission at Bitwise is to provide access to the most exciting themes in crypto. We are thrilled to launch XRP and bring XRP's potential real world impact to investors through a professionally managed investment vehicle. This is exciting stuff, considering that Bitwise is, I want to say, well over 10 billion in assets managed. I can't remember exactly how much, but yeah, super exciting stuff here. Yeah, I don't know if it says how much they have under management, but that is okay. Super interesting. So I'm always learning stuff. I didn't know that this NVIDIA earnings call was really affecting the market that much. I do believe that the AI, uh, you can call it a bubble if you want, but the AI boom per se seems to be teetering on NVIDIA quite a bit. And I don't think that it's a bubble that could necessarily be popped, but I do think that a bad earnings call would definitely be the check that the system needs. But super interesting to see Nvidia crushes their earning calls. And it seems like the entire market, the tech side of the market, whether that's AI or crypto or whatever, the Magnificent Seven, had a great recovery. So I guess that's just something to think about here is our economy and financial system is literally being held up by per se Tether or Nvidia. So I guess that's just something to think about is that there is a lot of money that is teetering and back and forth on Nvidia and AI as a whole. Um, but at the end of the day, you can call it a bubble if you'd like. I don't know if you could consider, I don't know how big it really is per se, but if you look back in time and understand why bubbles pop and how bubbles pop, most of the time it's that the Federal Reserve tightens restrictions in monetary policy, hinting anything that is speculative pops, right? When money is easy, when interest rates are low, and there's not any draining of the balance sheet, risk on assets, speculative buying is typically what happens. So back in 2020, after COVID, you saw that the Federal Reserve dropped interest rates to 0% and started doing another round of quantitative easing. Hint that the entire stock market, not just Bitcoin, the entire stock market appreciated a lot. So, with that being said, whenever there was a lot of inflation between 2021 and 2023, the Federal Reserve went from very loose policies to extremely tight policies. And the crypto boom was pretty much ended. And you look at it, you can argue cycles, and that's not a bad argument by any means. But the reason why Bitcoin went from over $60,000 a coin back down to 20-ish thousand in the bear market had a lot to do with the Federal Reserve and the tightening of the balance sheet. So, when interest rates are high, when the balance sheets are being tightened, that makes credit hard to come by per se. So it focuses more on, instead of just borrowing money and buying stuff on margin, it forces real growth. And I think that's a really good thing to think about here. Nvidia is posting great earning calls, and the Fed is in quantitative tightening. Now, if you look back in time to the dot-com bubble, as you can see, the dot-com bubble popped because they were in easing, not necessarily easing periods, it was more of a neutral balance sheet. And they had tightened the balance sheet, and all of the speculation sold off. Hint, the NASDAQ and the entire dot-com bubble popped. It had nothing to do necessarily with what those companies did. It had a lot more to do with macroeconomics of what the Federal Reserve has, you know, what they were shooting for their policy. Also, something to think about, it's becoming a trend in the past 40 plus years that anytime a Fed chair is ready to leave office, hinting Jerome Powell will probably be finishing his final term out until May. I don't know exactly what day. Uh, they're all, if you look back at all the chairmen, most of the time, they're trying to get interest rates at a relatively low, but not a bad price, or not bad price, sorry, bad percentage. Which I think we're at like 3 and 3/4 or to 4, give or take, uh, and a more of a balanced sheet. So it's become commonplace for Fed chairman to try to hand off a balanced Federal Reserve. So there's a lot of uncertainty who the new chairman will be, what their policies will be, and going forward, depending on who it is and what their policies will be, then we can speculate, okay, where do we go from here? If there's a new chairman and they say, we think interest rates are too high, or sorry, if they think inflation rates are too high, maybe they go back to tightening. Maybe they bring up the interest rates. Or maybe they think that they need to ease or just adjust accordingly. Then I think that'll be good for the markets. Higher interest rates and tightening of the budget sheet is good for long-term growth. Long-term growth, not short-term. Easing is better for short-term growth. So easy money, quick money usually comes from easing cycles. Long-term is more of a, Nvidia actually has to sell these chips and make a profit. So if they are doing this in a quantitative tightening balance sheet, this goes to show you that the AI bubble, if you want to call it that, is far superior to the dot-com bubble. So I think that just looking at what NVIDIA did last night with the earning calls, this goes to show you that we're in a really good spot here of if there is more of a neutral balance sheet at the Fed, we could really see some true long-term growth, hinting why we're talking about XRP ETFs. XRP ETFs will help scale XRP to higher prices, more adoption, and also a higher market cap. So I do believe this is a great investment for anybody who would like to start buying XRP ETFs. You get to choose who and what you invest in. I think Bitwise would be a great investment. And hopefully we can continue to keep making records for day one ETF volume. So just want to keep you guys updated on what's going on, why the markets are reacting so positively to NVIDIA's earning calls, and what's actually behind the scenes happening, and also what causes these bubbles to form and what they are, what's causing them to pop. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Continue to keep thinking like a long-term investor, because that is what we're here for. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Know what you want and believe that you can and will get it.
Your time is limited.
Always keep going.
You kill me! Keep going! You keep going!
A Thessalonian you're fighting. He's the biggest man I've ever seen. I wouldn't want to fight him.
That's why no one will remember your name.